Game Time with Boomer Esiason. This week's guest is the captain of the Super Bowl champion LA Rams and Walter Payton Man of the Year, Andrew Whitworth.
Today's guest says he doubts that anything could top the 4 days in February when his Los Angeles Rams win Super Bowl 56 over his former team, the Cincinnati Bengals. It is my pleasure to welcome future Hall of Fame offensive tackle Andrew Whitworth to Game Time. Big Whit, what's happening? It's great to see you.
What's going on, Boomer? So happy to be here, man.
Yeah, it's great to see you, and you know what? I love the fact that you got a chance to enjoy winning a Super Bowl. I mean, you paid the price. You've played so many years, so many games. Has the celebration finally stopped, or you're still celebrating with your family and friends?
You know, it's still little daily reminders, things you don't even think about when you're walking around or going around town, dropping the kids off to school. Somebody will say something to you about it, and it reminds you all over again. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be something, obviously, as a family we're going to think about and celebrate just within our group for quite some time. We all know how much it takes to get there and really the journey that it was. And so it's been really special to us, and the kids are living high right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, and what a journey you've been on. So let's get this out of the way up front right now. Have you decided to retire or to stay? And by the way, if you need a little bit more time to answer this, I'll ask you again at the end of the show.
I love it. You're right. That's definitely been the question. To me, I think that's a decision probably in the next couple of weeks that I'll kind of come to, hey, all right, I think this is the final decision. And I definitely think it looks like I'm going to retire. I mean, what a way to end it. It'd be really special to call that my last game, two places I love so much, playing against each other in the Super Bowl. But, you know, we'll see. In the next couple of weeks, I'll make sure I finalize that, and I feel good about where I'm at physically, and the family feels good about everything else, and we'll move forward.
You know, I read about a story between you and your wife. You were having a conversation when you were leaving the Bengals and you ultimately decided to sign with the Rams. And you were saying you're leaving one losing franchise and going to another losing franchise, but there was Sean McVay at the beginning of all this. What did you see in him as a young coach that made you want to sign with the Rams?
I think that for me, when I really met Sean McVay, had a chance to sit with him, I realized, wow, we see things the exact same way. We've kind of talked about that all the time. We hit it off from the second we met, and that I was really excited about that opportunity, but I thought the chances of winning were pretty much over for me just because of the state of what that franchise was at when we were going there.
You guys go to Super Bowl 53, and it was a very disappointing Super Bowl, I'm sure, for you and the entire offense. After the game, you know, Sean McVay said, look, I was out-coached by Bill Belichick, and he was very open about his respect for Coach Belichick. I'm just wondering that experience, what it did to him leading into Super Bowl 56 and how he changed as a coach because of that experience.
Yeah, I think it really helped him develop not just for the Super Bowl, but for moving forward as a coach in general. I think that he really felt like that time before that game, he might have overthought it and done too much research and too much studying to try and almost outthink himself a little bit instead of just sticking to things that I think he thought were his core principles as a coach. And so he always kind of felt that way from that game. You know, I don't know if I believe that. I think that, you know, as players, we have to play and play well. And I thought that was one of the games that we, you know, really, if you look at our season, probably one of the worst games we played all year. And I think that's what we felt, is if we'd have just stayed in it and not got so down on ourselves in that Patriots game that things weren't going our way, instead of just having an attitude of like, hey, man, it's only going to take one drive to bounce ourselves back in this thing. And I think this time we figured out a way to do that.
You face Aaron Donald pretty much every day in practice, and you've watched him work over the last 4 or 5 years. Try to explain to people out there just how difficult it is to block him one-on-one and how he can wreck a game for an opposing offense.
Yeah, you really look at AD. I think when you look across the NFL and you try to find who are the great rushers, who are the great guys on defense that you say, man, this guy's the difference maker for his football team. What really sets AD apart is he's not a guy that you'd say, all right, this guy plays with power, or he plays with just speed, or he's really savvy and a veteran guy who's going to kind of know the plays and figure them out and have kind of a head start. He's a combination of all the above. And not to mention the last and probably most important is he's going to play harder than anybody on the football field. And you realize, wow, not only is this guy special, his work ethic and the example he sets every single day is rare one-of-one type stuff.
Good news for the Rams and bad news for all those offensive lines that have to face them. All right, we're just getting warmed up with the great Andrew Whitworth. Stay with us as Game Time continues right after this. I have a little game that I like to call Cincinnati kidding. Are you up for a challenge right now?
I hope so. We'll see.
All right, here we go. Question number 1.
There is not a chance that I know that one.
I didn't think so.
Welcome back to Game Time with Boomer Esiason.
Welcome back to Game Time, everyone. Andrew Whitworth grew up in West Monroe, Louisiana, where they celebrated Big Whitworth Day after the Rams Super Bowl victory. He was a tennis champion, believe it or not, and a promising golfer, but football was where Whitworth made his mark, leading his high school to 4 state championship games and winning 3 titles. I got to believe, Andrew, the reason you went to LSU is because you're from there, and LSU has such a huge presence in Louisiana.
LSU was obviously somewhere that a lot of kids from my school went. I actually, though, believe it or not, was a Florida commit to Steve Spurrier for a while until Nick Saban was hired. In my senior year in high school, Nick Saban got hired, and one meeting with him, and I knew this guy was different, and I changed over to becoming an LSU Tiger.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I read where you had 4 championship games, 3 in high school, 1 in college, all at the Superdome. So a pretty good place for you to play, huh?
Yeah, I had a lot of success there. I don't know that the people in Louisiana enjoyed my success that much in the NFL there, but they haven't been a big fan of that part. But they enjoyed the college and high school success for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but just like me, you were drafted in the 2nd round by the Cincinnati Bengals. Of course, you were the 2006 draft. I was the 1984 draft. I was really mad. You probably don't know my story, and I don't want to tell you my story. How did you feel when you were drafted by the Bengals in the 2nd round?
You know what? It was really unbelievable. I thought, for me, I didn't really see myself as a guy that was going to go that early. And I'd heard 1st round, I'd heard 2nd round, I'd heard 3rd and 4th. So I really had no idea. And then all of a sudden I met Paul Alexander at the Combine, and he told me I was going to be a 1st-round pick. So really that was the only team that had really talked to me about being picked early. And they ended up selecting Jonathan Joseph for their 1st one. So I knew when that 2nd-round pick came around there was a chance. So it was pretty special when Marvin Lewis was on that phone when I picked it up. And man, what an amazing 11 years that would be for me in my career.
Yeah, I actually got the phone call from Sam Weish, and I was just happy somebody called me. I thought they forgot about me, actually. I was thinking about Paul Alexander, your offensive line coach, really a disciple of Jimmy McNally, the great offensive line coach he was. He was my offensive line coach in Cincinnati. They changed your position. You went from guard to tackle under Marvin Lewis and Paul Alexander. Tell the fans out there the difference between playing those 2 positions and why it's so important to be named a starting left tackle in the NFL.
I think really when you look at those positions, I'd played left tackle in college and, really felt like it was a position I liked. But when I was going through the combine process, at that time in the NFL, there was a lot of really big guards. And that was kind of a deal there. You'd have, you thought your offensive line really, if you looked across the NFL in 2006, was really all just massive human beings. You don't have as much of that now. But it was really how big, how strong can your O-line be? And so a lot of people saw me as a guy who was a little stiff and didn't know if they could play left tackle. So they would thought that I'd be more have a future at left guard or possibly playing right tackle. And so first couple of years, honestly, is one of the best experience for me to get a chance to play some of that early in my career because I kind of got to learn the power that was needed to play at this level. And then as my body changed and I found ways to become more athletic, I learned that left tackle position. And really, it's the difference in playing in a little 3-foot box and when you play outside at left tackle, it's like being a man-to-man corner. There's a whole lot of space for them to make you miss.
Okay, we're going to return to relive the Rams' dramatic playoff run with Andrew Whitworth right after these messages.
You're watching Game Time with Boomer Esiason.
The 2021 Rams entered the playoffs as the NFC West champions. In their first postseason matchup, they were pitted against wildcard Arizona, who was in a free fall after racing out to a 7-0 start to start their season. You split with the Cardinals this year, and going into that game, many wondered whether or not you guys were going to be up to the task and to be able to control Kyler Murray. But did you realize or did you feel like they were off a little bit, that there was something wrong with their team?
I feel like you see every year in the NFL, teams get off to really hot starts where things are just going your way. Turnovers, offensively, everything's dialed in. And then really you saw them the last half of the year, things just started to be a tick off the other direction. And so to get there and catch up and then win the NFC West and then get them at home, we knew that this was going to be a special moment for us. We were going to have a great crowd. We were going to have a chance to right the ship and fix the rubber match, and we did that.
So after his 34-11 victory over Arizona, you got to go to Tampa Bay. You guys are actually controlling the game. The whole first half, you're all over Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. And I'm thinking that you guys are probably saying, we got Tom Brady over there. This game's not over by any stretch of the imagination. The turnovers start. All of a sudden, the comeback starts. There's a bad snap. Matthew's not ready for it. And all sorts of crazy things were happening to you guys in the second half. How were you able to win that game when that momentum shift was so titanic in the second half against the Bucs?
I think it's a great example of exactly why Matthew Stafford is a much better quarterback than people sometimes give him credit for. He basically, took over the ship with no time left and said, I'm going to find a way to make this happen. And him and Cooper Kupp just willed their way to finding a way to get down there and get us that field goal and say, we're not going to give Tom Brady another chance. Why wait for overtime? Let's do it right now. And I think that was really one of those moments that you knew Stafford had played really well in the Cardinals game, but in that moment, I think he really took that next step where people all of a sudden go, wow, okay, this guy, not only is he a great talent and a great football player and guys, love him and endear to him, but he just clicked that extra gear that makes you realize that this guy could do something really special with his football team. And I think that's when we became really confident. Not only that we already knew who we had, but like, wow, okay, this guy's got the extra gear to make the kind of plays that give you the opportunity to go to a Super Bowl.
Now you're playing the NFC Championship game. You're going against the San Francisco 49ers. They've had your number now 6 games in a row. I'm sure that had to be internally a discussion point. I know externally for us in the media, that's all we were talking about. Can they overcome this 6-game losing streak to the 49ers? How did Coach McVay handle that week?
I thought it was one of the best weeks we've had getting ready for them because I think really if you look at the Week 18 game, the reality is that we had played better football than them and then just gave them an opportunity at the end of the game to get back in the game and then had a miscommunication in the secondary that gave them a chance with no time left to score a touchdown and send it to overtime. And we really thought, hey, you know what? Like all we got to do is just simply execute and we win that football game. So it really gave us the confidence that we knew that they were confident they'd won against us, but they also knew that the last time we played, we'd give them our best shot, and they barely got out of there with us making a mistake. And we thought, man, if we can just eliminate mistakes, we'll have a chance to beat this team. And it panned out exactly what we thought. They're one of the most physical, hardest playing teams in football on both sides of the football field. I couldn't have more respect for the 49ers and the way, style of football that Kyle Shanahan has those guys playing. And we knew that was going to be a war. It was their crowd, it was in our stadium. It was loud. We were on silent count. They weren't. And it was quite a show. But it was unbelievable to be able to have that moment to come back and win that game.
It's amazing you win that game, and then all of a sudden, here come the Bengals for Super Bowl 56. I mean, the story couldn't have been written any better for you personally, your family personally. The fact that here you are going against a team who, by the time you left there, they thought you were too old to be a starter and they didn't want to pay you possibly. And here you are with the Rams. What a moment that must have been when you knew that you're going against your former team.
It really was. I can remember as we went to go out for the game after we'd done pregame warm-ups, somebody screamed in there that Cincinnati had made the kick and won the game. And I just had a feeling come over me like it's inevitable. We're going to be there. So we're going to find a way to win this game no matter what. And I thought it was one of the most just different halftimes I've ever had. When we went in the locker room in the 49ers game, Sean McVay literally just stood in the middle and was like, guys, I just refuse to believe you guys aren't going to find a way to beat this team. No matter what happens in this next half, just know it. We're going to beat this team. And so when we went in and found a way to win, I was like, man, I get to go play an organization I couldn't love more, couldn't respect the people in that building more, a city I couldn't love more, that our family still loves. My kids still wear their Bengals jerseys every Sunday when I'm not playing, and watching Bengals games. It couldn't have been just a more dream scenario for us. I mean, we were pinching ourselves for 2 weeks. Just what an unbelievable, cool opportunity for me and my family.
Well, you guys deserve it, and we'll be back with Andrew Whitworth, who'll share his views on the joy of giving.
Welcome back to Game Time with Boomer Esiason.
Welcome back, everyone. In his sixth and likely final nomination, Andrew Whitworth was finally named the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year.
You need to always remind yourself how you get places in life. There's always people along the way that have helped you get there. There's always somebody that's poured into you, or an opportunity that's presented itself through somebody else. And so to me, just being able to go in the community and make sure people know that you care about them, make sure that you know you'll help them have their opportunity, and remind people what it is that helps you get there so they can look around and find those things that they can lean on and that they can believe in. And then there's other people that just haven't had any opportunity, and maybe I have the chance to give them an opportunity I was blessed with. And to me, the greatest thing I can do is
this award for many years, and the amount of information that they give you regarding the 32 candidates from the 32 teams is remarkable about how much goes on in an NFL player's life and how much they do give back. And in your case, you give back to Los Angeles, Cincinnati, and Louisiana, and it's a broad range of charities.
I think sometimes, you can get so caught up in maybe having the perfect event or the perfect thing that you do. And it's really, I just kind of say, hey, look, let me find ways that people need and what people are looking for, from their community, and support that people are looking for. And I'm going to go try and meet them where they're at. And so that's why really in my time in Louisiana and Cincinnati and LA, it's really been a vast different amount of charities, because it's like, I don't really want to do something that has my name attached to it. I want to do something that is for what people need. And if I can help in some way, if I can speak at something, if I can volunteer my time, money, my voice, whatever it is, I want to give that opportunity to just meet people where they are and help them get to the point they want to get to. And I think that really, to me, is what's important to me. It's not about what recognition is given, but what opportunity I can help somebody have.
What people should know is that your wife, Melissa, and your kids are involved as well. And why do you bring the kids into it, and what is their purpose?
Well, we just believe that starts in our home. I mean, if we really want to make changes that last a lifetime in people's lives, it's about our kids having that heart. It's about them understanding why it's important, them growing up and realizing, man, there's a lot of unique opportunities they get being the children of an NFL player. We just want our kids to understand how important that is and how special that is, because one day, whether they're successful in a sport or a business or anything else, all those things are great and wonderful, but we want them to be able to fall back on the fact that they're there for people first and foremost.
We're back with Andrew Whitworth, who has said that Cincinnati community means the world to me, adding that it was a place for 11 years that I served as captain and gave my heart and soul to that team, meaning the Bengals, of course, and that community. So I know how competitive you are, Andrew, so I have a little game that I like to call Cincinnati Kidding. Are you up for a challenge right now?
I hope so. We'll see.
All right, here we go. Question number one. Boston is known for its beans. Philadelphia is known for its cheesesteaks. New Orleans, as you know, is known for its po' boys. Cincinnati is known for its...
Skyline chili, the chili.
Chili, very good. This breakfast sausage patty is synonymous with Cincinnati's German heritage. What is it?
Oh, man. I'm bad on this. Lord, I need to get back to Cincinnati.
It's called Geta.
Geta, yep. See,
Right.
I'm thinking boudin. The Louisiana comes out quick.
We should probably do something about New Orleans for you, I think. All
That's
right,
right.
here we go.
I need the New Orleans one.
All right, here's the last one. If you don't get this one, then you don't love Cincinnati, okay?
Oh, man, here we go.
This Cincinnati-born Hall of Fame quarterback won the Heisman Trophy at Navy, and like you, is an NFL Man of the Year award winner. He was also MVP of Super Bowl VI before making his fortune in Texas real estate. Who is he?
That is a fantastic question, and I have no earthly idea.
Come on.
I do not. I'm not a Cincinnati historian.
All right, so
I
if I say the name Roger Staubach to you, do you know who that is?
I definitely know the Dallas Cowboys. See, if you'd have asked me this is the Dallas Cowboys question, you may remember I'm a North Louisiana kid. I grew up watching the Cowboys.
All righty, Andrew. It's great to see you, man. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
I appreciate it so much. I'm going to go Google a Cincinnati historian book right now.
Okay. Hey, thanks so much, Andrew, for joining us today. And to all of you out there watching, I'm Boomer Esiason, and I'll see you again soon, right here on Game Time with Auburn Tigers head basketball coach, Bruce Pearl. All right, two more questions for you. What did Matthew Stafford get you guys for Christmas?
He got us Rolex watches.
All right, how many of those do you have?
Oh man, that's it. I'm not a big jewelry guy.
And finally, are you ready to announce your retirement or not? Have you had enough time to think about it?
I'm about 5% more to the direction of retiring, but I'm not fully retired yet.
Whether or not you retire, just enjoy your life, man. It seems like you do.